All right, everybody, how you doing? This is Matty C Sports for you and me. The final episode of season one and the end of 2020 interviewing for me, and hopefully 2020 is a thing of the past. And here again, I'd like to welcome back the legend of Calgary and pretty much the owner of the Saddle Dome, Theo Fleury. Theo, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Busy day today. I've been doing podcasts all day long, so it's been good.
Well, I'm glad I'm part of that crew.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first, we totally got a hell of a new season lined up for the 2021 season. I think they should have did this years ago, and I don't know if you feel the same way, Theo, with the North Division being your teams such as Calgary, the Maple Leafs, Canadians, Jets, Oilers, Canucks, Senators, all the big Canadian teams are all in one division. So it's
Yeah,
how do you think that's going to work out? I mean, there's a lot of rivalries in the Canadian
yeah.
teams.
Huge, huge. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, change it up and the unfortunate thing is that, whenever, a Canadian team comes to play in Calgary, the building's full, like completely full. And unfortunately, I think at the beginning of the season, that's not going to happen, which is kind of unfortunate. But I know the the sports stations up here that carry the games are going to have a significant following for sure, and it's going to be great for TV and whatnot, be able to watch. So yeah, I think it's going to be great, and it's going to be a really interesting season for sure. And when you like the Flames and Oilers are going to play 10 times this year, you know,
God,
and the rivalry um, hasn't been the same since I sort of left Calgary. Because both teams, one team's usually good, the other team's bad, and so over the last few years, both those teams have significantly upgraded their talent level, and so there hasn't been a playoff series between Edmonton and Calgary since 1991,
wow, wow.
right? So hopefully, we through this new system of play that Calgary and Edmonton will finally meet, in the playoffs. But it's going to be a very highly competitive division. Vancouver's great, Edmonton's good, Calgary's good, Winnipeg's good, Toronto's really good, Montreal. They made some really good changes in Montreal, and then who knows with Ottawa with all those young guys and the amount of talent they've acquired through the draft. I think it's going to be a real exciting year to watch that Canadian division.
Absolutely. And I saw a quick interview with Milan Lucic had with, I think it's Sports Nation, and he said that it's going to be a rough go for a while because these guys want to scrap with each other because it's been forever. And like you said, they meet them a handful of times during the season, but now it's like, I'm going to face you every day. And I thought that was a great way to put it, but you're right. This is going to just be a stacked division. And I mean, with the Bruins too, we have our rivals and then we have more. It's like,
Yeah.
but you're going to see these teams a lot more than often. Like, so say you're going to see the Canucks your first couple of games, and then you're going to see them in like 2 more weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. So if you got in a fight, you got somebody really mad, and you hit them from behind, you're going to see them in 2 weeks. It's not like you're going to fly on the West Coast and come back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Well, and there's a lot of back-to-back games too, right? Like where a team will come in and play 2 or 3 games at a time. So, that'll be interesting too. It'll be more like sort of playing in the playoffs, so to speak.
yeah, I love the playoff situation they had last year. I thought they did an amazing
Yeah,
job.
it was unreal.
Except I
Yeah, it was
couldn't
great.
sleep
It was
for
great
the
hockey.
I couldn't sleep for the what was it? Was it Columbus and Tampa Bay went 7 periods?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god. Then they played I don't know if that burnt them out against the Bruins, but I don't know.
Might have.
And then my final thing with hockey, So how do you think your Calgary is going to do this year?
Well, I think, you know,
You guys are stacked for sure.
mhm. Well, we added a goalie, right? And since Mika Kippersoft left Calgary, you know, that's been probably our most important position that we haven't really been able to fill. And so to be able to get a guy like Markstrom, you know, who's a bona fide, you know, superstar goalie, you know, I think significantly enhances our chances of, you know, having a great season, you know. So,
Well, I think you guys are going to have a good season. I think the Bruins, we don't know. Now it's big news in Boston with Chara. Does he stay or does he go? As much as I don't like how he's still been a fixture here in Boston.
yeah,
He is getting older, but I mean, who knows? I mean, I think it's going to be a big icebreaker for the Bruins if they don't have him. It's like Tom Brady in New England type
yeah,
of thing. But
yeah.
anyways, yeah.
You know, when you lose your most significant leader you've had for, you know, however many years Chara has been there, you know, the, you know, he might not have the impact that he does on the ice, but he still has the impact, you know, in the dressing room, you know, and so, you know, if you lose a guy like that, you know, somebody else has got to step up and, you know, replace him. So it'll be interesting if he's not there to see, you know, if they still have that, you know, that kind of leadership. So it's, you know, guys like Bergeron and Marchand,
Yeah.
and you know these guys will have to step up into that, you know, into that role.
And I think Bergeron's the only leader role that could be. I mean, I thought he was before Chara even came, but it's
Yeah,
just Chara took over. But that's what happens. Like I said, should be an interesting season for sure. Um, Now, going back to what we were actually, I have one more thing with hockey. So I saw an interesting article. I thought it was really cool that Alexander Ovechkin actually looks up to you, and he was saying about his yellow laces and his tinted visor were from you. I
yeah.
mean, dude, that must have been a huge honor.
Well, it was wild because, um, you know, it was my wife works with a guy who came from Russia, and his kid is a big Alexander Ovechkin fan. So she asked me, "Would you take, you know, the dad and the son down to the rink when the Capitals are here?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. We'll go down to the morning skate." And so I called the Flames PR guy, told him the story, and you know, we got a chance to meet Alex after practice, right? And you know, I hadn't really paid too much close attention as to, you know, what color his laces were and if he was wearing a tinted visor. And so,
Yeah,
you know, when I had the chance to meet him, um, you know, I said, "You got yellow laces and a tinted visor." I go, and he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's from you." He said, I used to, you know, I used to be a big fan of yours and watch you play." And then he asked me for an autographed stick, right?
yeah.
He wanted one of my sticks. And so we got a bunch of my old sticks made up and I autographed one and sent it to him. So it was pretty cool to, you know, to realize that, you know, Ovi was a big Theo fan. So
That is pretty awesome. I mean, you still have to remember you were a big time player in the game too. Don't forget,
yeah. Well,
and they're gonna raise your name.
I remember meeting Brad Marchand a couple of years ago in Calgary too. I was doing a alumni event at the rink the night the Bruins were there, and I just happened to be down by their dressing room when warm up started. So I went up and I introduced them myself to Brad, and he was like, "Holy shit," you know. And he said, "Hey, can we get a picture taken?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So, you know, I said, us little guys have to stick together. And he said, "You know what? You're the guy that, you know, gave me inspiration and hope that I could, you know, play in the NHL." And I thought that was pretty cool for him to say that.
That is awesome, and I'm glad. Like I said, you're a pioneer in the game, and that number 14 better be up in the Saddle Dome soon
Yeah, it would
for
be
good
nice.
reason.
It would be
Yeah,
nice.
I hear it's good talk that you should be getting up there, so I hope it happens. But let's go to your Breaking Free Foundation. How's everything in there going?
Good. Yeah, we've been well, we're back in lockdown again. And before the lockdown happened again, we were doing some live events with Breaking Free, and was going very well. But now we've just been doing it online, so like everybody else. So, but yeah, it's been challenging, right?
Yeah, exactly.
COVID, COVID is the most traumatic thing that's happened since World War II, and so when we're experiencing more opioid deaths and suicides than we are actually COVID deaths, the impact that, the lockdowns and, all this policy is having on, is having on people. And I know that I've been probably as busy as I've ever been, helping
Oh,
people.
I'm
People have
sure.
been reaching out left, right, and center, sending me emails and private messages on all the social media channels, and so yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember us talking about that, like you said, with COVID being the worst thing since World War II. And, me and you were talking last time about how the pandemic isn't just COVID-19, it's the mental health stuff. And, and you were telling me that when COVID first started, and you had a little bit of anxiety at that first part of it. And like for me, it was like I was near like a place that like was close to that. I was dropping off food to somebody, and then they told me, hey, like don't go too far, because this is where the mental health the people with mental health disabilities and stuff who also have COVID-19 put on top of it. So it's like I was just like, it wasn't that it was scary to me because I was away from it, but it's like it brought me back to where I was, and the fact that it's COVID-19 put together. So,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it's a battle between both. It's like, my God, like, how do you fix or deal with that? There's nothing you can do but just hope and pray, really. Um,
Right.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm,
It's time to lean on faith, right?
yeah, and then another thing that really inspired people too was when we talked about what you say is emotional pain management instead of what do we say,
Addiction.
addiction. Yes.
Yeah.
So like people are like, well, I never thought of it that way. I said, well, it's true. It's what we take different paths. Like, there's some people that are cold turkey, don't do anything. Then there's people that like can drink a 30 rack no problem, or can smoke an ounce or
Yeah.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like that's their coping mechanism. But at the end of the day, your thoughts don't go away, and that's another thing. It's a coping mechanism for some people. And
Yeah. Addiction's not a bad thing, right?
yeah,
We we've sort of put it in a class, in a category that has a lot of shame attached to it, but addiction saves lives, right?
yeah,
Until you get to
yeah,
a place where you can, where you can manage it and, eliminate it, right?
right,
But it does serve a purpose, right?
right,
And the purpose that it serves is, it suppresses, those negative emotions of sadness and loneliness, emptiness, all that stuff. And so, I don't see, the addiction space as a bad thing, you know, um, unless you're really having some negative consequences for, those kind of actions where where you're losing relationships and you're neglecting your kids and, all
yeah,
that kind of stuff, that's, that's when it gets to a point where you should, have a serious look at it. Right.
yeah,
And, you know, that, the real epidemic is not COVID-19. The real epidemic is mental health.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely, yes,
And
absolutely,
we're, um, and I think maybe the blessing in all of this is that we're actually talking about mental health, and we're talking about solutions, and we're talking about ways to deal with it, a lot more than we did before COVID. So maybe that's the blessing in all of this, is that, it's shone a light on, how many desperate people there are out there that are struggling with, with this kind of illness.
Right. Especially like you said, you have a lockdown up there, and it's a lot of, I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, the UK has a major one in the UK. Here in America, we have certain ones, but when you're a person with mental health issues and you're in the dark and COVID says, don't go out to this place or this place, then you want to stay home even more. And, and that's the thing. People don't want to take the initiative to go do these things. They don't want to take the initiative to go get help, which, I mean, all you really need to do is just get up, go take a walk, ride a bike, do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Get moving. Right.
And,
because when you're moving, it changes your nervous system. It changes all the chemistry in your body. So gives you all that good stuff, dopamine, serotonin,
right.
Good stuff. Yeah.
And I don't know. It was great conversation before when we talked about stuff, and, people took good lessons, especially myself, when you said, live in the present. If you go to the past, it's depression. If you go towards the future, it's anxiety. And like, I've kind of lived by that a little bit from what you've told me. So I think that's really cool, because a lot of people have talked to me and like, had a lot of good things to say about the interview, like I said. And it's like, well, take what he said to me and do it upon your life. If you need the help, like say, mm-hmm. Hey, I don't want to go think about what if this, or, oh my God, well, this happened to me. Well, be in the present. Maybe you can talk about it and you can get your help or anything. It's not just sitting around thinking about it. Just go on and try to do it and help yourself.
Yeah. Like, I try to live my life in that 24-hour space, right? Mm-hmm. Which keeps me relatively present, but with COVID, it's been very challenging, because we don't know what the future is going to look like, right? Mm-hmm. Which then brings up a lot of anxiety, and, you start to produce chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline, right? And you're living, way up here, and that's too high of a frequency, right? It's too high of a frequency, and your body doesn't know what to do with it, right? So meditating, exercising, doing what we're doing right now, talking about it, these kind of things bring us back to, sort of center, and we're actually looking after ourselves, right? Because when we're thinking about the past and thinking about the future, we're not thinking about ourselves. How do I get myself out of that space so that I can be present, right? And, there's lots of different things. I just started working for a medical company where we have a sound therapy app.
Okay.
Where, you can log on. It's called MMS Mobile Wellness in the App Store on iOS and Android, and download the app. And we have 40 or 50 different tracks on there that helps you. All you need is a set of headphones. You can be doing whatever you want. You can be working out or, doing the dishes or whatever. And they're about 7 to 10 minute sessions. Mm-hmm. What it does is it calms down your nervous system, and it takes your brain waves that are too high or too low and brings them back to center, so that you can refocus and sort of recalibrate the intensity of what you're feeling.
Oh, that's very interesting. I will definitely have to check that out. And that's on the Apple Store?
Apple Store and Android. Yep. It's called MMS Mobile Wellness. And it's been an unbelievable tool for me. I listen to probably 5 to 7 tracks a day.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So it definitely is a big helper in that sort of sense.
Huge.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's stuff on there. Let me just pull it up.
I'm gonna write that down some more.
Mm-hmm. So we have anti-stress, anti-anxiety, anti-depression, mental performance, pain reduction, self-improvement, creativity, and then a sleep aid as well. So
Really?
if people are having trouble sleeping, you just put this on before you go to bed and you're out.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
Dude, that's a really awesome app. I'd
Yeah.
love to check that out. I
Yeah,
will
it's
definitely look
amazing.
into it.
Yeah, it's been a game changer.
So what made you like coincide with this company? Did they
They
approach
recruited
you
me.
or?
They
Oh,
recruited
okay.
me. Yeah, because they knew I was in the space, right? And they know that I'm talking about, mental illness and tools and all that every day, all day long. And so it was kind of a perfect fit for, what I was doing. And, you know, I would say in the first 3 to 5 days that I used the app, like I could feel the change. I was more positive. I had more hope. I was more motivated, all of these things, you know, and what it is, it's like binaural beats, right?
Hmm.
So you've heard how if you go to a drumming session, how it can put you in that meditative state,
Yes.
right? Well, this is the same sort of uh, technology, right? That and binaural beats has been around since the 60s,
Hmm.
right? But it's just more and more, it's become more mainstream now that because we have such an epidemic of mental illness all across the planet, that we're starting to see more and more of these sound and brain synchronization apps that are out there that are helping people through this time of COVID.
Right. And I'm glad you told me of what specific how should I say it? What specific beats you have, for sleep aid, anxiety, and depression? Because actually interesting that some things could help with that. Then that's a tool I would love to use, and of course I'm going to put this on the link and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, that sounds like a game changer right there.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, it's well, I'd heard and I'd used some sound therapy stuff in the past. I wasn't really sort of convinced, and when I joined the company and saw all the science, proven science around why it works and how it works, and it uses the beta, theta, alpha brain waves and helps synchronize them and calm them, calm the brain down, calm the nervous system down, because that's ultimately what mental illness is our nervous system is like,
Yep.
you know
Yep. The old
or
the
we're
old tighten
or
it
we're
up.
we're too high or we're too low, right? If we're too high,
Yeah.
then we're in anxiety. If we're too low, then we're in depression. And so what the tracks do and the different sounds is it brings it all sort of to here, as opposed to where you
Yeah.
fluctuate, you know
I'm sure me and you both know that crazy up and down
yeah,
coaster for sure.
yeah.
um, so there was another important question I wanted to ask, and this was about like putting all of this stuff together with anxiety, depression, and kind of bit of hockey. So was there ever a point when you were playing where you're just like it was just too much to even think about playing that day, or it was just like I don't know if you were in a playoff game or you were a rivalry game where it was worse because you were feeling the anxiety and pain that you've dealt
Yep.
with.
Yeah, like that's the reason why I left the game, was I could no longer manage my emotions, right?
Yeah.
So um I would say that my anxiety is probably my biggest challenge, right? I live in
Hmm.
that space quite a bit because of, obviously what's going on, the uncertainty, and, what am I going to do? Right? Am I ever going to speak again? Am I ever going to travel again? All those kind of things. And so, I get pulled, in that direction, which then kicks up, my anxiety. And so thank God I've had, this sound therapy to be able to sort of calm down those emotions and get me refocused and whatnot. And that's, you know, that's the thing, you know, I'll share with your listeners is that, you know, you don't have to live in that space for very long, right? If you can identify it, you know, there's tools out there that are very easy to access and use to bring you back to, you know, that place of center. Right. But if you start to obsess, and you let your brain take over, you know, you're going to end up, you know, in a highly anxious state of mind. And you're going to stay there for long, long periods of time if you don't step in and say, you know what, I'm going to go into my toolbox here and I'm going to use A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I know if I use A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I'm going to come back down.
Right. Exactly.
Or I'm going to pick up the phone and tell somebody, hey, I'm having a fucking panic attack here. You know, I just need you to listen. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Some people just want somebody to listen. Really, it really is a simple answer.
And that's the best way you can help somebody is just by listening.
Exactly. You know? I mean, I've had a couple of people recently that have dealt with that. A lot of issues with other friends. I mean, I have my own, but like, you know, it is a very good thing for people to just hear somebody say, and then, you know, at the end of the phone call or conversation or whatever, when they say, you know, I'm so happy you listened. Thank you so much. Like, I'm sure you've got that call a bunch of times, and it feels good, right? It calms my anxiety and depression down just from helping out somebody else. But I also am in the realization to, you know, say you got to take care of yourself too, not just another person.
Yeah. Because if you're not good, you're no good for anybody else.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm wondering, what's that hat mean to you, Theo, right there? The one you got on.
Yeah. Well, it means everything, right? You know, it's a great reminder of, you know, people say, what's your greatest accomplishment in life? This.
Absolutely.
Right. Because without my sobriety, I got nothing. Right. If I go back drinking, everything disappears. Right. I always say, you know, alcohol and drugs are like a solvent. When I put it in my body, things start to disappear. Jobs, family, friends, you know, everything disappears. And so, you know, I like where I'm at and I want to stay here. Right. And so, you know, this hat reminds me that, that today I'm going to stay sober.
That's awesome.
Tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen. Right. But today's all that matters.
Exactly.
When we focus in on what, you know, because managing 24 hours is easier than managing 365.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Heck yeah.
Right. You know,
shit. Yeah.
And when we live in that space, you know, we have less anxiety, we have less depression, we have better relationships, you know, we're in tune with ourselves. We're learning about ourselves. You know when we're going off the rails, and when we know we need to pick up the phone and call somebody, or, you know, log on your phone, use the app, you know, or meditate or pray, or, you know, whatever ritual, you know, you have that helps you calm down, you know, use it because they work.
Absolutely. And I know there's has there been athletes that have reached out to you, like former or present NHL players?
Lots. Yeah. Lots. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
I figured so.
Like a month ago, I had 10 people reach out in 1 week who were all suicidal.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're all alive today.
Good for you. I'm so I like hearing the good news from what you come to tell me, and through your Twitter, you know, like the positive stuff you present on there, and your foundation is doing a lot, I can tell, and especially up in Canada or up there.
Yeah. Well, and for all the US people, I also belong to a global mental health organization out in New York called We're All a Little Crazy.
We're
And
all a
it's
little
we're,
crazy.
we're all a
Okay.
little crazy.org is the website, and there's lots of unbelievable information on there. So, if you're listening, check that out.
I will definitely put that in the link as well for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so what I know we talk about present right now,
Hmm.
but what is there any future things coming up in the Theo world, like any more live stuff or any stuff, any tools or anything you're looking
Yep.
to?
Well, I started a group on Facebook called Trauma Transformation. So you guys can check that out. Join the group. We do live therapy sessions once a month online on Zoom. I've started that. Um, I've been working with the app company. I got my course online, my trauma transformation course online. You can get it off my website as well. So yeah, there's lots of things going on. Doing tons of podcasting. Um, uh, I'm having Bill Burr, the comedian, on my
Get out of
podcast in
here.
a couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that. So
That's great.
yeah, I met him at Mario's Mario News Fantasy Camp in Pittsburgh a few years ago, and sort of stayed in touch, a little bit. And I reached out to him, and he said, "Yeah, I'd love to come on your podcast." So I'm pumped for that one.
That's funny. I was watching a show that he's on, the Mandalorian Star Wars
Yeah,
show. He's on that. I'm like, that's Bill Burr. I'm like, so that's awesome. He's gonna talk with you too. And
yeah,
um, yeah. So my final thing is, are you coming back on Matty C Sports next year?
sure, absolutely, love to. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm so pumped that our first conversation got so much feedback for you, and it helped a lot of people, realize, that they're not alone, right?
Right. It's
Yeah,
true. And I absolutely like thank you. You say you save lives and like for you to come on my show for I think I don't even know how long it was, but how much we talked about certain things in a quick amount of time and what type of stuff you can use to slow your body down and take care. And what you spoke of today is really going to help people. And people, like I said, texted me, Facebook messaged me and said, that was one of your best interviews I've seen. I said, well, I deal with both. I love hockey, and
yeah.
we mental health is an important thing to
Hmm.
have people aware of because I don't think it's getting enough not airwave, but enough thought from people that don't know what people go through in their head.
Yeah,
So again, I count my blessings and I thank everybody who's helped me. I have my supporting circle. Actually, you said tribe last time. I have my tribe. So,
yeah, yeah.
um,
That's it. Find your tribe and stay with them. Stick
yep,
close to them. Stay with them. And share your struggle, right? Because we all have
definitely.
struggles. We all have struggles. You know, not everybody, goes in this life, and everything's kind of smooth sailing. We're gonna hit patches where things aren't going the way that we want them to go, and that's when we lean on our tribe.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah,
again,
I gotta tell you one more thing. So I joined this app called Hot Mic, it's called. And what it is, it's a platform where I can watch I can watch NHL games with fans online while the game's on.
oh wow, that's
So
super cool, man.
so maybe you and I can do a Boston Bruins game with a bunch of your followers, and we can do it on this Hot Mic platform.
I'd be honored, man. If you could do that for me, that would be so cool.
Sure. I'll look at the schedule, and then we'll pick a game, and then we'll all hang out.
Or you can get me on a Calgary game, and when they play Montreal, we can
Sure.
make fun. We can make sure that the Calgary fans will win and Montreal will lose.
There you go.
Well, you already embarrassed them in 1989, so I don't want you to embarrass them again.
Right. But they beat us in '86, so.
Yeah, but that was the past. We're in the present.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be hard for you guys not to have any Boston Montreal games.
Tell me about it. Yeah, I mean, but we're going to go back to the old school 90s. We'll have our rivalries with Buffalo probably and Detroit and stuff like that. So like I said, it's going to be interesting. I really love the format of them playing the North Division being Calgary and all of the Canadian teams. I think that's super awesome. So I'm kind of going to suck for Vancouver traveling all over the place, but that's their problem.
But they do it anyway. So
I know. Yeah.
So when we're out west, we traveled a lot. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, it'll be an interesting year for sure.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Well, Theo, I'd like to thank you again for being on the show. I can't wait for our next adventure, and I will live in the present for you, and I will definitely spread the positive around. And I'm going to premiere this on Facebook Live, Instagram, all that stuff tonight, probably at around 8:00. So
cool.
You can
Okay.
check that out.
Well, you're going to have it out right away.
Yeah, definitely. Right. And then I'll either email the link to Don or you.
Sure.
But thank you
if
again.
You email it to Don. I see everything that comes in on Don's email. So.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see it all. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, everybody, thank you for Theo, for you coming on the show. We'll see you next year at some point. I'd love to join Hot Mike with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we'll see you again. Thank you again, and Happy New Year to you and your family and everybody. And hopefully everybody stays safe in our circles.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, Matt, and it's been fun catching up again. So, and we'll definitely do it in the new year. So, Happy New Year and all the best to everybody in your life, and to all of you out there who's listening. Thanks for listening, and it gets better. You just got to work. You just got to work at it.
Absolutely, put in the effort. Don't sit in the dark. Get outside and enjoy the sun.
Yep, and find your tribe.
Find your tribe. I got mine.
There you go.
All right, Theo. Thank you again. We'll see you soon.
Okay, man.
All right, buddy.
Take care of yourself. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye-bye. And thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody who's contributed to the channel. Been a big help, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. Happy New Year.